right? So still it is being opened. So this is the first screen, and now I'm going to create a new project, because you all know about how to create a project, because I discussed these things at the beginning. So now I'm going to create a new project. So I'm not going to change the project name, and so I'm going to click OK. Right. And I'll give you one more activity for you. So I'll upload that one for your LMS, and before that I'll tell you actually really what it is. So you need to find a real life problem of your field, because you are learning different subjects, and I need your response with as a solution, right? So how can you solve that particular problem by using programming, right? So this is an individual one, this is not a group one. So this activity you need to complete. So I'll give you the time also, and I'll give you, I think it's enough, 2 weeks, right? So you need to define your problem, and then you need to specify, you need to write how you can solve that problem by using your programming knowledge, right? So that is what I need, and I'll post that one as an activity on the LMS. So I told you, then you can think and ready for that one also, right? So is it okay? And you need more clarification, or if you are having problems, then you can ask. I think you have no problems, because I didn't get anything from you. Okay, if you have any problems, then you can ask. And now I'm going to start the today's section. So get user input here. So now here you have already learned that the console.writeLine is used for the output. So that means printing purpose. And now we will use console.readLine to get user input. For an example, suppose here I need to print the username. That means I need to print enter username as a statement on my screen, and then I need to get the user input. That means the username from a particular user, and then I need to print that username. So how to do that? So first thing, I need to write enter username. I need to display that word, so that statement. So how to do that? So for that I need to use console.writeLine, and then enter username. Right, then I need to get the value from the keyboard. So for that I need to have a variable to keep that value, right? So because the username is usually is a string value, so then I use string variable to store that value. So how to define, how to declare a string variable, you know, data type. So the data type is string username or any other name you can take, right? So username equal. Now we are going to take the user input, right? So now for that we need to use console.readline. Console.readline, right? So now we got the user input and we have assigned that input. So this is the way to get the user input, and then I have assigned that user input for this string variable, this one, right? So now I need to print that value. Then we need to use console.writeLine. Console.writeLine, and inside this writeLine method I need to pass that username. This one should be username, right? Then I copy that variable and paste it here. Right, now we need to hold our screen. So for that I use console.read key. Otherwise you can't see the output. Console.read key. Okay. So now let's see the output. So now I'm going to run the program. You know how to run the program. So I use this start debugging button. And here, this is the program. And it asks about to enter username. So there's a problem of my keyboard. Sometimes R letter is not working. Anyway, no problem. I'm going to enter my username. Any username you can type. So I use summon, right? UGC. Likewise, you can enter any username and then press enter. So then you can see this is the username which I have entered now, right? So you can modify this program with some text also. Your username is, then you can put this value. So such kind of things you can do, like this, right? So I'll tell you. Your user name is right. So your username is then the variable, right? So now let's run the program and see the output. So this is the username, and now I'm going to press enter. So your username is, so this is the username which I have entered now, right? So that is how you can get user input, right? So any problems, anything you need to know about more than this, you can ask. Now, suppose I'll tell you one more story about this user input, right? So here I'm going to change this program. I need to get age. I need to get age, right? So enter your age. Your age, right? So I'm asking to enter the age, right? So then the age is, the age is integer value. So I change the variable also, int age equal console.writeLine, because this is previously also we used this method, because by using this method we can get the user input. We don't need to change this part, but the age is integer value, so that's why I change this variable. right? So now I'm going to change this part also. Your age is then the variable, right? Age. But you can see there's an error, right? So here you can see the error message. What it really means: cannot implicitly convert type string to int. Remember, when you are using console.readline, always this console.readline method gives a string output, right? So it gives string output, but there is no way to assign string value to integer variable, right? So that's why you can see this error message, because this part is integer and I have assigned string value. So because this part always gives string result, right? So when I assign something, then automatically it gets as an string, right? So but we have our assignment is age is integer value, but we cannot assign string value to integer variable. So that is the problem. Then what we need to do here, we need to convert this string console.readline method to integer. So how to convert that one? How to convert that one? You can see here console dot to int32. So this is the method you can use to convert this console.readline method, because that is that is a string method. So actually it always returns the string values. So we need to convert this console.readline method to integer. So for that we can use this conversion method, right? So convert dot to int32, and here also I need to use a bracket. So now you can see our conversion method has come to the picture, and inside this method you can see this console.readline method. So I'll cut and paste. So this is the method, right? So inside this method I need to put my console.readline method like this, right? Because sometimes when we have multiple brackets you may confuse, right? So that's why I show you. So previously we didn't have convert to int32 method, and when we use this method we need to open a bracket here, and we need to close that bracket from here, and inside that we need to put our console.readline command, right? So now everything is okay. Now you can't see any error. Now let's run the program. Now enter your age. So I have entered a value, then I'm going to press the enter key. So your age is 14. Now it works because we have converted the string output to integer by using this convert to int32 method, and then we have assigned that value for this int variable, int age variable, and then simply we print that variable. So that is how you can use user input. Now you can also create a calculator also, because you know how to get the numbers as integer. Then you can do some calculations and then you can give the output, right? So if you have any questions you can ask. And if you need to write something, then also you can write, right? So I'll give you time for that also. Because this part is really important. Sometimes there may be questions like this, and this is the program and there's an error, and how you can solve that error, and then you need to describe all the precautions and the things you need to uh, apply in order to resolve that error. So this is the way to resolve this kind of errors. Now, we are going to discuss about operators, operands in programming. So in the in mathematics, we have different types of mathematical operations. So for that, usually we use different types of operators. For an example, addition. So the addition, you can see this is the operator for that, right? So in the division, subtraction, multiplication, so different types of operators we can see in mathematical, right? So the same thing here also. You can see x and y. So we called these x and y's as operands, and the between you can see this operator, right? So here you can see the plus operator, maybe some other operators also. So the same thing here. For an example, I have used plus operator. So in any operation, an operand may any numerical value, right? So and we known as literals in programming languages, and maybe variables, constant, function calling, or something like that, right? So those things may be operands, right? That means sometimes there may be a function which returns an integer value, right? So sometimes you may have variables, and sometimes you may have actual values, right? So those things we called as operands, right? So the constant means also a value, right? Then according to the given example, you can see here, if we want to add two integer numbers to the expression, so we can write it as 10 plus 20. So 10 and 20 are the operands, and here the operator is plus sign, right? So the plus operator. So this concept we use in programming environment also. Now I'll show you how it happens. So here in programming, operators are special kind of symbols, right? So sometimes some functions like size of, that is also operator, right? So, and you don't need to worry about this one. Sometimes you may have functions like this, and I'll discuss that one later. So, and we use that operators to perform a specific task like mathematical and logical. Here, so the same example, you can see there's an expression, and it contains two operands, 10 and 20, and the operator is plus sign, or the plus symbol. So plus symbol is operator, and the 10 and 20 are the operands. So the same thing we can apply for the programming environment also. Here, C# operators. So the operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So in this example below, we use operator to add two values together, right? So here you can see int x. So that is a variable, and we have assigned 100, and then you can see this addition operator and 50. So that means we are going to assign this entire value, entire expression to this x variable. Then 150, the value which contains inside this x variable. So although the plus operator is often used to add together two values, like in the example above, and it also be used to add together variables and value, right? So sometimes this may be another variable, this part, and this part may be another value, right? So sometimes you may have two variables like y, z, or something like that. Sometimes we have different types of values, right? So it may depends. So different combinations. Sometimes you have this part also variable and this part also variable. And sometimes you have this operand is a variable and this operand is a actual value. Sometimes you have this operand may be an actual value and this operand may be a variable. Different combinations you have, right? So that is, it depends on the situation. Then here, very simple example, int sum, then the 100 plus. So I have disconnected. You all can hear me?